Yeah, so I'm like actually kind of beefing with the bathrooms here. Hey Maddsters! So as many of you guys know, I'm currently studying abroad in Copenhagen, Denmark, and so I've been here for about a month now, which is crazy, but I've noticed some cultural differences and like culture shocks that I wanted to share with you guys. Number one is the bathrooms here. I don't like them. Like, I really don't like them. If you guys know me, I drink like a gallon of water every day, so I like pee all the time. Like, I go to the bathroom so much. So I kind of like know my bathrooms really well. And these bathrooms are just not it. First of all, they're called like water closets, so they have like a W and a C on some of them. And you walk in, it's just like one toilet and like a sink. And people are like, oh, it's so private and, you know, it's like so nice. Which, okay, that's cool, but they don't have, like in America where there's like 5 stalls and 2 sinks, they have like 1 bathroom. Then there's lines and it takes forever. And not only that, but the toilets don't flush. Like you have 2 buttons because they're like trying to be environmentally friendly. So it's like one has like little water and the one has a lot of water. And in America, they have like this tornado where like it kind of sucks the waste down the toilet drain. But this one is just they like push water down the drain and it like doesn't work unless you hold it down for a long time. And I'm like, isn't that a bigger waste of water if you're just like pushing the water down instead of using some kind of like suction to like suck it up? I have no idea, but the amount of like grossness in the public restrooms here is just so gross. You know, like if people don't hold down the button long enough, then there's just like toilet paper and stuff in the toilets in the public restrooms. Versus in America, like, yeah, sometimes that happens, but the majority of the time the toilet is fine, okay? Well, I guess the bathrooms are then technically like unisex, which is fine, except like some people don't put the toilet seat down, so you have to like put the toilet seat down yourself. One time I almost fell in, you know, it was just like not a good experience. Ugh. Not only that, but the public showers. So like I have a membership at the gym, and so like I go to the locker room and like change my clothes. And these showers have 0 privacy. Like you walk in and there's just like these little plastic dividers. Like in America, if you go to the gym and shower, they have usually curtains or something around it. And like, yeah, it's probably a little gross, but at least you are like private and they like have a hanger for your stuff. And here it's just like everything's open. And so I actually showered in there one time. No one else was in there with me, so like that was good because I was like there when no one else was there, but just to experience it. And it was so weird. I was like afraid someone was gonna walk in, but like no one did, so it was okay. But I was like, why are your bathrooms like literal like private bathrooms and your showers are just like communal showers? It just did not make sense. Also, one more thing about the bathrooms is that sometimes you have to pay for them. And that just like makes me so upset. It's never that much. It's usually about like $1. But still, like to pay to use the bathroom, like whenever they have me pay, I just don't go, and I just like, I don't know. I miss America's toilets. Okay, number 2 is transportation. So I live in a suburb of Copenhagen, similarly to how I live in a suburb of Chicago. So I do have like an hour commute into the city when I go to school. So that is a lot, but it's not bad. Like I thought it'd be way worse. There are a couple types of transportation. Obviously everyone has cars, and the cars here are actually really tiny because it's super expensive for them to have. So they actually tax American cars way more than they tax German cars. So a lot of people have like Mercedes and Audis and everything. But some people do have Teslas though, because they like tax those less because they're electric. But I don't know. So you can have a car, but it's very expensive. So otherwise people bike. Copenhagen is like one of the most bikeable cities in the world apparently. And so like every day, even in the wind and like the rain and everything, people are just always biking, which is crazy. I can't bike very well, but if I do, like, I'll let you guys know how it goes. And then also there's the train. So there's the S train, which is what I take. It's like above ground. It's kind of like a monorail at Disney World. I don't know. But those are really great. They're always on time. They run every 10 minutes on the weekdays and every 20 minutes at night and on the weekends. It's always like, I've never had an issue on it. Like if you miss your train, one comes like 10 minutes after, they're always on time. Other than that, there's the metro, and so I actually took that for the first time. Similarly to the S train, and then there's the buses. So I took the bus once. It was fine, very similar to any other bus that you go on. So they were all fine modes of transportation, lots of public transportation, which I don't know. I've had a fine experience on it. I have started falling asleep on the train, so that is just a fantastic nap time, and hopefully I don't miss my stop because that would be terrible, but knock on wood. Okay, number 3 is that Copenhagen is super expensive. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so expensive here. The reason why, I'm gonna kind of tie in 2 topics. So they pay about 50 to 60% of their income to taxes, I believe. It's like around that number, which is a ton of taxes. Like, I don't know what we pay in America, but it's not 60%. But then with that, you have free healthcare, you have free education, lots of like public libraries, and like overall, I would say the buildings are just nice. They're not like saving up for college, they're not saving up for university, they're not like saving up for like healthcare. So I guess they have a lot of disposable income, and they also pay a lot more. So there's no minimum wage here, but they say like if there was, it'd be around $25. But like they just don't have a minimum wage because everyone just gets paid enough, I guess, which is good. But that means that things are super expensive here, which is not good. Like, I went to Starbucks one time because I had like the little Starbucks app, and a tall coffee, it was like a tall caramel macchiato, was $7. Like, for the tall, okay, not even the venti. And then I walked out, like, I'm not buying this. Usually pastries are like $4 to $6. Coffee is usually around $6. So it's just so expensive, and it's just really, it's so expensive. And for clothes, also very expensive. Like, I was looking at a pair of Vans, and they were $80. And in America, they're like $60 or $50. So I'm just gonna wait till I get home to buy my new pair. Another reason why Copenhagen is expensive is because you have to pay for your water. Normally in America, you go to a restaurant, and it's just like tap water, you know, and it's always free. But here, like, if you even get tap water, you have to pay for that, and that's like $4 or $5. And that makes me really upset because I drink a lot of water, so I just bring my own water bottle, because why am I paying for water? Like, that's a human need, you know? Another thing that I have really been struggling with are the conversions from America to Europe. So first of all, they use military time, which is just really difficult for me because I know you just subtract 12, but I struggle with that sometimes. So I actually changed my phone into military time to like try to redo my brain, but it's just not working. I just never know what time it is, so I just like look at my watch or look at my computer. So that doesn't work for me. They use the kroner, which is their form of currency, and it literally makes no sense. So $1 US is like 7 kroners. I think that's like about the conversion rate. So like 100 kroners is $15, which literally makes no sense. Like, why isn't just 1 to 1? Like, 1 kroner is like less than a penny, or it's like about the same as a penny. So you can't do anything with that. I have a currency converter on my phone, so whenever I'm out, I'm like always on that to make sure that I'm not spending a lot of money. Because something will be like 200 kroner and it's like $30, and I'm like, that like $200 is insane, but it's kroners. So that's hard. And then they also use kilometers instead of miles. So they'll be like, oh, it's like 1,000 kilometers away. And I tell my distance in minutes. So I just like nod and like shake my head because I don't know what that means. Like, I know what it means when something's 30 minutes away, but like 1,000 kilometers, I don't know what that means. They also use like grams on their food instead of like cups. So I don't really know what's going on most of the time, to be honest. Also, Copenhagen is known for being very environmentally friendly, from the biking, the public transportation, the wanting to use electric cars. But some people like also sort their trash. So my host family, we have like 6 trash cans, and like different trash goes in different trash cans. So that is weird too. It's kind of a lot of work, and they like actually compost here. We don't do that in America. But I guess that's good that they're trying to like help the environment. But what is interesting is that even though they're like environmentally friendly, so many people smoke here, which is like, smoking is very bad for you. And also, I think probably bad for the environment, you know? And so it's just like weird that people are trying to be so like environmentally conscious, but also smoke. Overall, there's like the whole obesity issue in America. They don't really have that here. Like, most of the people here are like fairly normal size. Like, of course there's gonna be like a range of body types, but like there's no obesity problem, I guess, which I'm trying to figure out why, because they do have a lot of pastries. Like, every 7-Eleven has pastries. Literally so much, like same amount of candy as America. Portions are like pretty much the same. But I don't know, so I'm thinking like maybe they bike, they don't eat pastries as much as you think that they eat pastries. I'm not really sure. In general, the food here has been very normal, I would say. It's literally like America, because there's like the Starbucks, the McDonald's, the Burger King, KFC, so much shawarma, which is really interesting. I have yet to go there because it's so expensive, but eventually I'll go there, I think. There's also like bubble tea shops, of course, all the cafes. There's Italian, like any type of food that you would want in America is what they eat here. And I guess like the classic Danish meals, a lot of bread and cheese. So like we literally have a block of cheese and you like cut your own cheese every time you want cheese. I guess the classic things are the smørrebrød, which is like the open face sandwiches, various pastries like the tuberkies and the knasenegel, like snail things, the cinnamon rolls, which are really good. I guess they eat a lot of like fish and potatoes and pork. I don't know. I haven't had an issue with the food here and I'm like not picky. Yeah, and as most of you guys know, the Scandinavian countries are very collectivist, and so they pay a lot of taxes. And what's weird is that there's like not very many homeless people. You would think like if you go to Chicago or New York or even Ann Arbor, there's like kind of a lot of homeless people. But here, there's very few. Like there's some around the train stations and some people like come up to you and ask for money. But whereas in America, where like you walk and every single, like there's a whole line of homeless people, like that's just not a thing. And so I was talking to my host parents and they're like, being homeless, like you have to try to be homeless. And some people do that as a form of like rebellion to the government for like having such a collectivist government, I guess, which I don't know, to each his own. But I just thought that was really interesting. And overall, people like have just a really good sense of trust in each other, which is very different from America. But also, so it's a kind of a flat government. Like I'm learning about the leadership in Denmark, and it's always very flat, like very open leadership. There's very little hierarchy. But then there's a monarchy and there's literally a queen. So it's like, okay, so you want to do a very flat society where everyone's like contributing, helping each other. But then you also have your queen, which is like your figurehead. So it's kind of like a weird dynamic. I had no idea that Denmark had a monarchy. I literally thought Britain was the only one who still had a monarchy. But they do changing of the guards every day. And so like I walked for almost an hour in the rain to like watch this changing of the guards. They like literally walk through the city every day at 12 p.m. and they just like play their sounds and like walk around in their little uniforms. I don't know. And then they did like a whole ceremony and then I left because it was cold and it was raining. But that was really interesting. And of course, since they have the monarchy, there's like so many palaces all throughout Copenhagen. So I've been to a few already. It's obviously not fake, but in my head it's fake because I'm like, how is there still like a literal queen living here? But she's still living. So I thought that was also interesting too, because in America, like the presidency is very dividing, I feel like, versus here, the queen is very unifying. Obviously, she's still just a figurehead, but it's just like kind of interesting. Also, with COVID, which is very relevant to now, their COVID testing is insanely easy. Like, there's tents all throughout the city, and you don't even have to sign up. You don't have to register. It's all free. You just walk up. They, like, whatever, take your name down. You go. It's very, like, the easy nose one, not the one that goes all the way back. And then you get your results within a half hour. Like, super efficient, super great. And so I think that's also why Denmark's, like, numbers are high, is because everyone is getting tested all the time. But it's really great. And then they just passed the law on February 1st that basically all COVID restrictions are gone. Masks are not mandatory anymore. All like the clubs and the bars are open, normal hours. Basically everything's open and back to pre-COVID. And if you get COVID, you just quarantine for 4 days. Denmark, I believe, is the first country to do that. And it's pretty much like, yeah, some people will get very sick, but other people will get a cold kind of thing. So I think they're trying to move towards like just getting out of this COVID stage and trying to just integrate it into real life, which is pretty cool. Another thing that I noticed is that they're just overall very, very American. They play normal American music like in the stores, at the gym they just play normal music. People know like American music. I don't know, they play like Justin Bieber, the Jonas Brothers, like Taylor Swift. There's like a couple Danish songs that always come on the radio, but everyone knows American music. Everyone knows English too, which is really nice. As Americans, like we don't know anything about Denmark, but they know a lot about us, I guess. So it has been a much easier adjustment because it's actually very similar to America. And then another thing that I've been learning in my classes is that although Denmark is seen to be the happiest of countries, but just because they're happy, they're not really the friendliest. So I do notice sometimes they are more closed off. So for example, if you go into a store in America, the associate's always like, hey, like, how are you? Are you looking for anything? Like, can I help you? Or telling you about the sales. But when you walk into a store in Denmark, like, you don't say anything to them, which I guess is kind of nice because sometimes you don't want to talk to anyone. But they're overall very much more closed off. And that's actually caused problems for Denmark. People will be moving to the country for a job, but then they'll be moving away because they can't make any friends because these people have known each other since they were little. Like, their school system is also very different where you stay with the same class from, I don't know, like elementary school up to like high school-ish age, I think. The friendships here are very deeply rooted, so as an outsider, it's very difficult to come in. So I think that's also interesting, and we talk a lot about that in my classes, how like they're happy but they're not friendly, so like how do you balance that? Another thing is that the houses are very small. They're like one story, very low to the ground, and I think that's just because it's very expensive to have a house here because just everything's kind of expensive. Also, something that's weird is that for their birthdays, it's like Denmark theme. Like if you have a birthday here, you put like the Denmark flags in your yard and like decorate the table with all the flags and everything, which is like so interesting because in America, we do not have American themed birthday parties. Like that's what 4th of July is. I had Survivor themed birthday party. So it was like, that's so interesting that it's just like Denmark. So they do have a lot of like national pride, which is pretty cool. Also, people go winter bathing here and I have personally gone. It's super fun, great experience, definitely very cold. I don't really know why. I think some people say it's like better for your health. Obviously, not all people do it, but my host family does it like almost every weekend. It's definitely like a cool thing to do, I guess. If you come to Denmark, you should try it. Yeah, overall, it's been a pretty good experience. Nothing too crazy other than those bathrooms. Very still similar to America, and it hasn't been as much of a culture adjustment as I thought there was gonna be. I also didn't really know what to expect. And I don't know, I hope this was interesting and informative. I don't know. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Go follow Maddster Worldwide on Instagram. Stay tuned for more vlogs, because I will be traveling soon, which is super exciting. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye, Maddsters!